Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning, everybody. Oh, I forgot to turn the lights on. That's a little bit better. I also screwed the camera up here. Hold on. Better. How are you guys this morning? Let's see here. Ever notice that the thumbnail looks like Seth has a gap in his bottom row of teeth? Okay, let's see here. Channel. Here's the thumbnail. No, I don't see that. Wait. Let's look at this. Where was it? Where was it? Oh, it was under pictures. Come on, where is it? Where is it? Namra says he sees it too. Oh, hold on. My folder. Shouldn't it be my pictures? My pictures? No. Oh, here it is, pictures. I didn't need to get back out. Video thumbnails. This one, right? Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying this right here looks that and that looks like teeth, and so then it looks like there's nothing there. When really it's just, I think my lip is weird. Well, gosh dang it, Uzi, you ruined it. Now we can't use that thumbnail anymore. Oh wait, I'm not even showing my screen over here. Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's just because of the way my lip is coming over my teeth. Something like that. Yeah. The lip is coming over the teeth. It's kind of gross. You can see that. We'll change it. I get myself. I'll tell you what. We'll get like a nice. Maybe put a suit on or something. Have the real estate agent pose. You know what I'm talking about, right? So that people think I'm serious. It's not showing the 9:45 block today. Let's see. Well, I see one at the top of the hour. What is it that we got? Oh, the PMI flash. Oh, you're totally right. It does not have the flash PMI. Well, that's interesting. But you know what? Like we got this from a source, a decent news source. I don't think it's the best one. I need to keep looking because I think that there could be some better. Is now U.S. section. What do you mean? What does that mean? Yeah, I do think we need a better calendar. I just so there's a couple of things about it. Well, I'm going to talk about it on the Ninja Trader live stream today. I'm gonna show those back to some stuff, but it's still a little bit of a work in progress. Like, I don't like the words that pop up, like the titles of them sometimes are like way too verbose, and I guess now we're missing some elements. I also don't think it goes back further than like 2 years. I think let me double check that. Oh, there's a fly in here. Oh, that's so annoying. Nothing irritates me more than a fly in the room. Yeah, it only goes back to 2022, essentially. I need one that gives it to me going back like 10 years. Section, maybe he means election. No, the election is in November. Kiddo gamer. Maybe that's the only thing he knows how to say, guys. You know? Like my kid, he can say yeah and dad. That's pretty much it. Pretty much it. Well, anyways, we should go look at the charts, yeah? Rollover notifications. Da-da-da. Volume profile. This over here. Okay, so here in the treasuries, yesterday pretty meh, to be honest with you. We're back up towards yesterday's highs though, and we are seeing continued steepening. In fact, we're getting pretty close to uninverting, aren't we? Let's see here. The 2 is at 4.4 and the 10 is at 2.24. So we're still like 20 basis points. S&P 500. Well, what was with that? Is that a data glitch? That can't be right. So is there really that big of a gap between when they closed and the... Oh, well, I mean, we did have a couple of really bad earnings. Well, let's not say really bad, but significant earnings yesterday, didn't we? So maybe that gap is correct. Actually, let me come back out here real quick and I look at it on the 5-year. Oh yeah, there's a real gap. Whew, okay. Oil took another dive yesterday, but they're recovering most of that today. Gold and silver, maybe a little better. Maybe a little better today. Copper continues to just look pretty bad. To realize 4.1 is still pretty high for copper, but like the trend, oh, it's so bad. And then the Japanese yen here. Ooh, the Japanese yen looks very, very nice. That's very, very good. And the dollar is coming off. So that actually makes me, when the dollar is going down, that's where I start to get concerned about these scenarios where like interest rates go higher and it's bad news for everyone. But today it looks like it's okay. Section, no, like trading section. Session. Yes, it is now the US session. Well, kind of, kiddo gamer. Okay, so I'm gonna teach you shit. I'm gonna teach you stuff. Kiddo. Because I know a thing or two. I'm kind of old now. There are different markets that open up at different times. So the New York Stock Exchange doesn't open until 9:30 Eastern time, which is actually kind of late when I think about it. Most people start work at 8 or 9, but when I worked on Wall Street, it was 8. But that's, it's at 9:30 so that they have like an hour and a half to like do all their stuff before trading starts, right? But the interest rate market opens much earlier than that. The interest rate market opens basically a whole hour before that at 8:30. Well, 8:20 to be specific, 8:20 Eastern time. It's 8:20, not 8:30, because there are often big news releases at 8:30. So the Treasury market opens at 8:20 and it closes at I think 3. Yes, at 3 Eastern time. Whereas the New York Stock Exchange closes at 4 Eastern time. So the Treasury market closes an hour before opens, and it closes an hour before. Oh, that makes sense. I never realized that it opens an hour before it closes an hour before. That's just the pit session. But then there's the London market. The London market closes at basically 11:30 Eastern time, which is 9:30 my time. And so when the London market closes, that is a pretty significant amount of volume. I mean, like, the majority of the volume and liquidity is from the US, but that's still like a pretty good chunk. So that's why the best trading times are between 8:30 when the Treasury market opens and 11:30 Eastern time. Those are the most active times of the day because of all those times and everything. In my country, it is like so. Are you in Europe? Yeah. It's kind of funny how that all works out, because imagine if Europe was actually on Asian time, and yeah, that would be weird. I'm seeing, okay, so did we get, oh, you know what, do I have, I'm going to make sure that Financial Juice is running here. I haven't heard them say anything. I'm just going to refresh it. So we did have wholesale inventories month over month, spot 2 versus an expected spot 5. Goods trades balance 96.8 billion versus a negative 98.7 billion. The Treasury market is moving down a teeny tiny little bit, but the thing that I'm noticing that seems significant to me is that I am seeing the spreads steepen across the board and strong volume coming into the 5-year. So something's up. Maybe it's just a reaction to that news. I don't know if wholesale inventories or should really have that big of an effect on spreads, but there's something going on there. And it is a Wednesday. A Wednesday tends to have more activity than other days. Didn't even write notes yesterday, did we? Let's see here. It's the 23rd. Well, it was the 22nd. Oh, there's the news squawk. I forgot to turn the speakers off, so I'll do that. Okay, so we have wholesale inventories. We have flash PMIs. Those aren't as significant as the bigger ones, but oh, we have Bank of Canada rate decision. That's pretty important. New home sales, and it's a Wednesday. PCE on Friday. So I think that we have a better chance than we've had the past 2 days to get some activity. We are seeing some of that activity on the DOM. So I don't know if it will provide me an opportunity. It takes a little bit more to get me to trade during the summer. but we might have some opportunities today, so I need to keep an eye on it. And we are seeing the spreads move, so that's important. I guess let me add that on here as well. Spreads steepening. I'm not going to put like a prediction because I'm not really sure here. You don't use footprint? No, not ever, actually, to be honest with you. I used to always kind of have one like pulled up on the side somewhere. I could go back and look at if I forgot how something happened or what was going on in a spot, but I don't really ever pull it up now. I don't really find it that useful. Yeah, this reminds me of a thread I saw last night. Maybe I can find it. I don't know if the post itself wasn't that interesting, but I might as well read it for the context, right? Yeah. Because I think you'll all have opinions. Okay. This is from Reddit, day trading subreddit. Title, girlfriend thinks trading is for people who don't want to work. My girlfriend and I have been in an ongoing argument because she believes that trading is for people that are not willing to, quote, hustle and get their hands dirty. She says things like, why doesn't everyone do it if you can earn as much as you say? She comes from a very traditional family, with her dad being a cop and her mom being a registered nurse, so I can't fault her for her beliefs. She believes in trading your time for money and working hard, in her terms, to achieve what you want. She doesn't see the opportunity with markets, and I'm frustrated with trying to explain. She genuinely thinks I don't want to work because I want to trade, and that is completely not the case. I do want to work, and I am currently working. I told her an example that could make more in 2 hours in some cases than people make in a whole week, and she's like, okay, so after those 2 hours, what are you doing? That's not productive. This and that. And third, no, she loves me and is concerned, but I don't know what to do. She's super upset about this, and I didn't expect this reaction. Any advice is appreciated. So I think that men have this tendency to be hunters, to think of a hunter, right? So what is hunting? Hunting is going out and learning patterns and so forth to, figure out where the animals are, and then go and find an animal and kill it and bring it back. And that's hunting, right? And so trading kind of, for men, feels that kind of hunting instinct, right? A lot of people think that coming into the market is, I am going to learn about the market, and I'm going to learn what the patterns in the market are, and then I'm going to trade on that pattern, and I'm going to make money from it. And it's makes sense why they would think that trading is like that, but trading is not really like that. Because the markets are so efficient from a technical standpoint that those patterns are very few and far between. It's very, very difficult to find a good pattern in the market to trade off of, especially on intraday timeframes. And the market is extremely sensitive to orders, to new orders. So it doesn't take if you do find a pattern, it's not very difficult for you to remove that pattern from the market and eliminate that opportunity until it's just noise, right? So trading actually ends up being doing a ton of research, a ton of work, a ton of back testing, and wasting hours and hours and hours of your life digging for things that you may possibly never find. It's kind of more like digging for gold than it is hunting for animals, because, that's really hard to find golden nuggets. Actually, if you go in the river, you can. It seems like if you want to and you put the work in, you can find gold. It's probably not worth your time, but you can. But like digging and finding nuggets like they did in California, that's like what prompted the gold rush, or at least that's what they were looking for. Most of those people they moved over, they didn't make any money from it, right? So these guys say for sure this guy doesn't make money. I think you might be right. So here's the thing. Trading, there's a lot more opportunity in trading if you already have money. Okay? If you already have money and you can afford to dump like $100,000 into the markets on an idea, you have a much higher chance of success than the typical retail trader does. If you have $100,000, you can go and do a simple momentum strategy and straight up make money that way, right? There are strategies that we know work once you scale up that large. But, you know, if you're working with, you know, a few $1,000 account, pretty hard to make a living off of that. It's really for people that already have success. And if trading is the only thing that you really got going right now, then you got a real problem. I don't understand. If bro is working, what's the problem? Well, the question is, working doing what? Working doing what? Does he have a real career? Or is he like working at the Starbucks? You know? Because I find that trading tends to attract people that didn't really stumble into a serious career in high school, and in high school in particular, and then maybe they didn't go to school, or they went to school and they kind of got like a nonsensical major that doesn't really do anything for them. And now they're looking for a career, and trading seems like something that can make career money that anybody can do, and so they end up gravitating towards trading, right? But let's see. We can look at the user's profile. Another thing that I'm seeing here, though, is that all of the influencers online will talk about how most people, they trade their time for money, and you need to move beyond that, okay? They're not talking about trading. They're talking about starting a business, okay? You start a business like my YouTube channel. I don't post that much on the YouTube channel. It still makes like the same amount of money every week or month. It's not a ton, but it's enough to keep us going and do what we want to do. But what is his career? Okay. I am 24. I'm still in the beginning phases of trading. I just started in February of this year. I go to the gym 4 times a week. I'm clean, in shape, and healthy. I'm not lazy. I work at a restaurant serving. Bro. Lower form 6012. Get a real job or she's gonna dump you. Serious. No joke. I'm not gonna say that it should be that way or why it's that way or any of that. I'm just gonna tell you that's the way it is. She's gonna dump you, man. She's gonna dump you. You have to have something more serious going on than trading and serving. You do. People don't know how strategic partnerships work. It's so true. You know what, Uzi? So with my own relationship, okay. One of the things that happened that was kind of funny was there's a person that we knew, or that kind of had a big group of friends in the dating scene, and we did a lot of activities with them when me and my wife were dating and so forth. Like the second date that we went on, we basically went to like a Friendsgiving, okay, with these people. But the leader of this group is like super ADHD and even I would say like narcissistic personality disorder from her ADHD. So like if you cross her, like all of a sudden it's like knives out. Okay. And what happened was there was this guy that I had heard from, like, you know, I'm dating a lot of girls. They all are dating the same guys. I tell you what, it's super crazy. I'm not like a super good looking guy, but like at that age and active in a church and all of those sorts, there's like a pool. And so like you hear about the same guys over and over. If there's a guy that's like a problem, you'll hear about them over and over again. And I heard about this guy over and over again. And they were defending this guy. And I said, no, this is stupid. He's trouble. Don't go near him, right? She got mad at me. So they're like, I'm going to pull out the most horrible thing I think I have on you to try and destroy you, sort of a thing. It's like really super wild. They would go like straight to that, but that's what they were trying to do. And the thing that they thought was like the most devastating thing to us was that when me and my wife were talking to them, we talked about how we were really not super enthusiastic about the relationship at the very beginning. Both of us kind of said, well, this might be a good friend to hang around with. They're close. They could be useful, but there was like no intention like this is the person I'm going to marry. Not at all. And what I have kind of discovered was that like you're expecting there to be like fireworks and like this special close relationship right from the beginning, sort of a thing. And what I've realized is that is an illusion. That when you feel that it's actually probably more a reflection of your own internal vulnerabilities and issues than it is something indicative of there's something special about this person and it's a good relationship. And some of the best relationships I've seen, like people that have been married for a really long time where it seems to work really, really well, they were not super passionate at the beginning of their relationship, but instead it was a strategic partnership that worked. That is, that the logical parts of the relationship worked and made sense. They were moving towards the same goals. They had the same kind of lifestyle desires, etc., etc. And then you grow close through your actions. It's actually what you do that matters in the relationship rather than some sort of natural thing to it. So when Uzi says, you know, people don't know about how strategic partnerships work, it's a part of a relationship, being married or whatever the deal is. And so, you know, guys are kind of be like, well, if you're not rich, the girls don't want you. Well, you don't have to be rich, okay? But you need a career. You do need a career. And there's not going to be very many women that, you know, if you're going to be a server for the rest of your life, that will want to be in a relationship with you. And they shouldn't. You need a revenue stream. In 12 years of not having a quote career, every time I've entertained going back to the time clock, my wife talks me out of it. Well, you guys have got a pretty good gig going though. I kind of want your gig, Uzi, but I want it a little bit different. Like I want to maybe clean people's houses, but like for the hyper rich, right? And not even like so like what would be the difference? What would be the difference here? Because I'm pretty sure that you guys probably do clean a lot of really nice houses, right? Yeah, because I helped her build the business, yeah, it's true. It's true. Unfortunately for me, my wife has no real interest in what we're doing here on the YouTube. But the way that the partnership works is she takes care of the other stuff so that I can do this. I do everything except for manage the employees. Oh, there you go. Well, yeah, so Octavius is looking for a second long. I should point out, like, when I was looking at this and I'm like, the spread is steepening. I'm not sure what's going on here. Well, since that time, they all shot up back across the range and are up on their highs. And I'm not aware of any kind of news or anything that prompted that. It just moved quite aggressively. There is some correlation with the Japanese yen, but the Japanese yen doesn't seem to be pushing super aggressively either. Okay, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu to meet with Biden and Harris separately on Thursday. The last news that I had heard was that they weren't going to be there, and that Kamala Harris specifically wasn't going to be there when he was addressing Congress. The problem is imbalance of labor. If she's working harder than you, she'll resent you. My wife and I sit at desks in different locations all day. Have you not caught this podcast? It's fantastic. My ADHD-ness, I will grab it. Don't call her a philanthropist. I haven't. Okay, I'll go and watch that sometime. I haven't seen that. Okay, so on the imbalance of labor thing, I think I have an insight into that I've kind of learned. Not that I necessarily have this problem, but a lot of people do. So there's kind of this idea out there that, like, so a lot of women are like not staying in relationships and leaving, and that, like, one of the most common complaints that like therapists and stuff hear from the women is that there's like not a balance in the duties, that she's like doing everything and the guy does nothing. So and if it really is like both of you are working and she does all the housework and you don't do any of that stuff and you're just playing video games, then yeah, she's gonna hate that. She's gonna hate that. But you know what I've found is that it's not actually the labor imbalance. Like, part of marriage is that you give more. Like, there are going to be times where I am doing all of the work and she's out of it, and vice versa. And there can be long periods of that when it's like that, right? I think it has more to do with feeling like you are actually a real tribe. So think of it in terms of like tribal thinking, right? If we were a tribe of people living out, we're hunter-gatherers or whatever, right? We're a hunter-gathering tribe, okay? And, the men, they go out every morning to go hunting, but you're not doing anything. You just sit around all day, right? Then people resent the person that is sitting around all day because they're not contributing to the tribe. And we as humans have developed this natural feeling to ensure that everybody in the tribe contributes so that we don't have dead weight. Because if you have a bunch of people that just aren't participating, then that's dead weight and that's going to hurt you. And then you're going to lose out to a different tribe where everybody's working, right? So it can be the case that you as a man am working very, very, very hard, harder than your wife. Maybe it's just you have a really, really tough day job that requires a lot of time and attention, right? But she's not going to feel like that because that all happens away. She doesn't know what's going on, right? And she doesn't feel like you're contributing to the tribe, right? So I think that part of it is having rituals and routines and everything that involve everybody together doing things, so that everybody feels that like you're actually contributing to that you're actually a tribe itself, instead of just a person that kind of like visits every evening for dinner or something, right? You get what I mean? So just having a conversation with them about the way that things are going in the household and what you want to do can go a long way towards alleviating a lot of those feelings. Because I find it very, very common where the guy is doing a ton of work, and then the wife wants them to do even more work when they come home, and it's not balanced at all. I see that a lot, especially in households where you don't have kids. If you don't have kids, I'm kind of like, I have kids and she's at home all day. What are you doing? I've seen that. I'm just happy my girlfriend took it well when she saw the 4 monitors in the earmuffs. Undercover nerd. This was one of those things like when I first got on TikTok, with like one of the memes going around was like, if he, you could see his computer and he has like multiple monitors, like just leave now. I do a lot of keeping the house. I am trying to make sure dishes are done and dinner is ready. Well, so here's a problem that I have that I haven't figured out, is that one of the most important things that I can do is keeping the children occupied while she is doing her things that are her things. Like she cooks dinner. Somebody has to cook dinner. Somebody has to keep the kids occupied while that's happening. And they will just not leave her alone. Like, it doesn't matter what I'm doing or whatever the deal is. It is just like almost impossible for me to keep them over there away from her. It just doesn't work. Like, the only thing I can do is like take them downstairs where they're kind of trapped and they can't see her. And then maybe that can work, right? And especially if like I do my workout, she's often cooking dinner while I'm doing my workout. So then it's like even worse. So I don't know how quite to do that. Because one of the things that I had thought about was like, well, you can buy all of the food and decide what we're eating and I'll cook it. But that doesn't work if I'm working out. My wife also knows, despite the revenue stream her business provides, if it weren't for the work I do in my little gel cell here, she wouldn't have all the money we have now. Yeah. Anyways, it's all about, taking on a role, and I think that this is something that we don't do in our society very well, is like picking a job and just going full on in that role of things. Like there are some people that they are servants. Like you can go to school to be a butler and everything, and there's all of this stuff to learn. Like it's actually, my understanding is you can go to school to become a butler, and it's a pretty good career that you get. And they completely adopt this butler lifestyle, that like you're there to serve that particular family, and there's a certain separation between you and them, so you're not supposed to be seen at certain times. You refer to them as sir or master or whatever it is. Probably not master anymore, but like there's this whole thing to it, right? And I think a lot of people would be like, well, that just seems so demeaning. Like, why would I do that? But the people that do it sound extremely fulfilled. And they kind of look at it like, well, I have my role in the household. and that allows them, the people that employ me, to do their thing, and then we're all better off because of that. We're so independent that we don't want to do that in our society, but pretty crazy. So I don't necessarily believe that like you have to sit down and say, okay, here's the total sum of work and both people need to be 50-50 per se. But you like need to tend to the tribe, make sure that we all feel like we're a part of the tribe. Most people go, do we both have jobs and something? Yeah. I can't imagine these people that like double income, no kids, and like that's their whole life. Like when I was double income, no kids, we were bored. Like we really had to work to go out and find things to do to keep ourselves occupied. Of course, we wanted kids, and it just wasn't happening. But you know, I look at all these other people. It's like, what are you doing with your life? How are you not like killing yourself with boredom? Same with the people. You know what? You just triggered me, because now that has me on the whole thing of why doesn't Kamala Harris have kids? I don't know if I want to jump on the bandwagon of like, well, actually, I do. I honestly, I have a really hard time voting for people that don't have kids. Kamala Harris has stepchildren. I don't think that stepchildren are the same thing. I honestly, you can be a great step parent, but the relationship that you can have with your birth children is different. It is. There's just no way around it. Like, there are chemical changes that happen to you, both the man and the woman, when you're pregnant. So like stepkids is not the same thing. And I don't understand how the life that she's had, that Kamala Harris never had her own child. That is weird to me. A lot of people are attacking us. This is a nasty attack. I think a lot of people feel that way. That you're a woman, you should have your own kids. I don't know. If I've learned anything from Dinks, I know it's that I can make half the money they do every year and still have 10 times as much money as them in the bank. I don't think we realize how much the tiny little things add up, especially these days. It's like, okay, sure, like let's say that you would get 10K income every month. That's kind of like a major milestone that a lot of people are going for, right? But then if every little thing that you buy is $100, that doesn't take you very far. And meanwhile, $100 in stocks is a significant thing in the long run. Like $100 a month is a lot. Okay, why does not having kids affect candidates' ability? So there's two sides. Okay, number one is that if you do not have children, you do not have the same investment into the long-term health of the society. And so people that don't have any kids whatsoever do tend to have different opinions and make different decisions that I do not think are good for the society as a whole. Now, Kamala has stepchildren, so I think that she's probably okay on that particular point. Number two is, well, why? Right? Because I just don't see how you go through life and not end up getting married, like getting married and having kids, right? Like that's just like a normal part of your life. What are you doing? What are you doing with your life? Well, Kamala Harris did do something with her life. She was an attorney general. She was a politician. So I think maybe she's okay on that side. Okay. But the last one, and the one that I don't think that she has, is that the very process of going through childbirth like significantly changes people, especially women. And you know, I remember when I got married, had stepkids. In some respects, I almost kind of feel like I was a better parent when it was just the stepkids, because with my own kids and him being autistic, it's just like I'm yelling at them half the time because, like, you know, I don't want everything destroyed or them to kill each other, right? So, you know, and that kind of becomes habit, and that's not a good thing, right? But you know, people will like always treat you like a child if you don't have kids, right? And even when I had stepkids, I still kind of got that impression. And then when I had my own kid, like then it changed. And I can tell you that there are changes that happen in you. Like there are like real chemical changes, rewiring of parts of your brain, things like that happen when you're going through the childbirth process. Like the whole thing of like your wife getting pregnant and having the baby, and then the whole ordeal of the first year of the baby's life changes people in a very, very profound way. And that is something that I think is important to like big decision makers. And I'm very weary of decision makers that haven't had that experience. So I'm not going to say that it's like disqualifying per se, but I think it's a really big mark against Kamala that she didn't have children of her own, in my view. The thing with Kamala is you don't really need to go that far to understand why she's a bad candidate, right? This is the lady that, you know, basically had people that she incarcerated, that there was evidence that would like exonerate them or help them get early release, and she refused to give that stuff to the court. And like it was like court ordered that you have too many people incarcerated, and here's a bunch of people that are qualify for early release, but you have to give us this certain information, and she wouldn't do it. That alone is like kind of, I think, makes you a bad candidate, just because of like the leaves a real sour taste in people's mouth, right? But then she's also just extremely radically progressive on a lot of points. So like if you're a Democrat and you're like, okay, who should our presidential nominee going to be? And you had like a real contest. Like Joe Biden had stepped out like 2 years ago. And so you had a real primary. There's absolutely no way that Kamala Harris would have won that contest. And one of the big reasons, one of the things that I think would really kill any kind of primary run for her is some of the extreme positions that she's tracked out. She was the senator that was the least likely to participate in bipartisan legislation. She basically staked out a position farther left than Bernie Sanders in many instances. And she has many far left radical policies that are particularly toxic to battleground states. For instance, Joe Biden has kind of been like anti-fracking, but like he didn't really do anything, right? Kamala Harris, if Kamala Harris was president, she would sign an executive order that just bans fracking across the country altogether, period. Which fracking has been a miracle for some people in Pennsylvania. Like that's been an important part of their economy. That's like a toxic opinion. That's a very toxic position to hold as a candidate running in Pennsylvania, right? and she's the worst on that particular issue. I'm very doubtful that she can hold Pennsylvania once the Democrats have their little propaganda hurrah that you're seeing right now, and that kind of fizzles out a little bit, and then the Republicans get their chance to try and define her in the way that they want. I think by the time we've gone through all of that, it'd be very difficult for her to win in Pennsylvania. So I don't even have to go into the she doesn't have kids thing, but it is something that I look at and really bothers me. It's the same with guys. So you got a guy, you're 60, you haven't had kids. What's wrong with you? What are you doing with your life? Something off. I guess I'll give one other example. Say you're a kid and you just got lost. You lost your family. You're like at a large event or something, and they kind of moved off into the crowd, and you became lost, and you're very far away from the rest of your family. You don't know where they are. Who do you go to for help? Well, obviously a police officer, right? But what if there's not a police officer around? What adult are you going to ask first for help? Do you ask the hippie looking guy over there? No. You go and you find another family. You go and you find another group of man and a woman with children. You do. Why? They will be the best equipped to help you. And the safest. Just saying. There needs to be a law that you can't take office unless you have signed a paycheck? Yeah, maybe. You know, I don't know why I was thinking about this morning. But there's this creator on YouTube named Pearl. I think she's still on YouTube. Anyways, and Pearl is kind of like an anti-feminist. It's a woman. I think she's married. I don't know if she has children. I don't think she has children, but I think that she is married now. And her famous opinion is that women shouldn't vote. Is her opinion. And I completely disagree with her. Her argument is women, vote a certain way that is, in her opinion, not good for the society. And you know what? Like, I do not like the way that women vote. Okay, so I suppose you could say from some perspective that I agree with her on that point, that I don't like the voting decisions that women make. I'm not so what is the word, arrogant. I'm not so arrogant as to say that my preferred policies are the right ones and theirs are the wrong ones. Okay, but I don't like the way that women vote in general. Okay, but I don't think that is a good reason to prevent them from voting, because why do we have votes? Votes is what ensures that the needs of the people that the policies are in line with the needs of the people. When you don't have voting, usually what happens is it's just the money is the only thing that speaks. So like in countries where there's like one industry, like if it's a country and they have like an oil well and one oil company, and that's like where all of the GDP of that country comes from, those are almost always dictatorships. Liberal democracies never have that problem because everybody votes. And so what happens, the policies and the way that the business goes needs to be in line and needs to help everybody, or at least the majority of people. Can't be everybody, but it has to be at least a majority of people enough for somebody to get elected, right? And when you disenfranchise a group of people, what tends to happen is policies tend to get passed that hurt those people, or at the very least, those people get neglected. And I really don't think that it's a good idea for 50% of people to be completely neglected and left out of the political process. And so even though I don't like the way that women vote, I think it's very important that they do vote. And the answer to that is to understand why they vote that way and, develop culture and so forth to help people understand what sort of inclinations they might have, things that they might fall for, political tricks that they might fall for, so that they become better voters, rather than they're not allowed to vote. Right? I always have to cancel my wife's vote. That's the only reason. Oh my gosh, that's so bad. So, yeah, she uses cringe Andrew Tate alpha male views to get her 15 minutes. It was around the same time. It may have been a factor, yeah. I don't know why I was thinking about that this morning, but that's like something that like is I think like a really important thing. What were you saying here? What's with the wild move today? You talking about the move in the treasuries? I'm not entirely sure, to be honest with you. It looks like there's something big going on in the spread, and we don't know what it is. I also think it's an interesting thing that, like, single women vote differently from women with married women and women with children. I think that's really... I think that there should be more research into that phenomenon. So, I guess I was like, so I need to... There's something else I need to say. Oh, so I didn't bring it back to the comment. So the comment is, you need to have signed a paycheck, right? So... based on everything that I just told you and thinking about it a little bit, I think I would say I'd have to oppose any kind of a measure like that. Because what that essentially means is that all policy needs to favor business owners. And you're not going to get people in Congress whose perspective is being a worker. Because there are some people that have never been workers and were just always the boss. Like that happens. That's actually quite common, right? The point being that the democracy, both like with who is able to vote and who is actually representative in Congress, needs to be diverse and represent different views so that those people are actually fairly represented. I've never seen retail wholesale numbers. Me neither. Oh, now maybe you're talking about ES, because I don't know if it's ES's really. And in the treasuries here, it is not a huge move. So I'm not entirely convinced that the move we're seeing has had anything to do with the wholesale inventories. Like, so if we come back over here. How do I have that up? So news came out here. We had a slow move down and then retracement and then gadoosh. It really took off. I don't see any news. I don't see anything else going on here. But we do have reason to see flows today, and we are seeing flows. Given that it is a summer market with kind of reduced liquidity and all of those things, a move that far can very much be endogenous. And if there's somebody out there executing some sort of a large meta order, like I would suspect that it would be a big spread trade. So somebody's putting on a big spread trade that could cause it to move. And there would be no way for us to anticipate that big spread trade other than to know that the person is going to execute a spread trade, or to know their strategy that would cause them to execute the spread trade, right? Okay, Hell is talking about the bonds. So, yeah, I don't know if it's... And I wouldn't call it, like, crazy. But it's, a pretty good move relative to what's been happening, right? So... Wish I had caught a part of it, Because I kind of said, well, we think something could happen today. Actually, I don't, if I had really been paying attention closely, I don't think there's any way I would have taken that trade. If there's like a continuation. I mean, I'm seeing enough volume in the 10-year and across the board that I could see them making a new high. So I suppose I could take a trade going long now. Except for that, I'm not very confident at all in what's driving that flow and whether it will really continue to be a thing. Kind of funny, the line of discussion we're getting to, because I still have the window open. I do this a lot, guys. I will, like, talk about something and then, like, completely forget what I was talking about and just keep going from subject to subject and not finish the first thing, right? Although I think we kind of said everything to say about this. I did leave a comment on there. I don't know if you'll see it. You need to get a better job, dude. You need to get a better job. Go become a coder. That's the place, right? Or a nurse. Something like that, but you gotta have more of a career than that. A woman doesn't need you to be rich, but she needs to see that you have the ability to get resources in the future. And if you're a server and trading, they're not gonna see that. So I really feel strongly that this user, that trading is not for you at this time, and that you should be spending your time getting a real career. There, now I can close that window because I've said my piece on that one, right? Be hot, be rich, or be useful. This is where, again, like, adopting a role, you know, like, I think that when we're young, there's kind of this, you want to be unique and all of these sorts of things. And in high school, like, those things all seem useful. But the older that I get, the more that I'm kind of like, oh, I should totally have just gone along with certain archetypes that already existed out there. Simply because, like, it just makes everything easier. It's like, you know, like what should Seth's aesthetic actually be? I should probably be preppy, no? Wouldn't being preppy be the most useful, like, makes sense thing for me? I need to, you know, I should be playing tennis, like my sport should be tennis. And I have all of the tennis and golf outfits, spend all of my time at the country club, right? And then all of these things about, like, okay, what sport should I do? Obviously, tennis. You know, where should I hang out? Obviously, the country club. All of these things now are, like, set for you now. All of these things are set for you now, like, so many decisions that you don't really care about that you don't have to make. You know, what kind of a shirt am I going to wear today? Wear a golf outfit. So it's easy. Where am I going to shop? It's like all of the decisions are made for you. Because if you don't do that, and then you're going to try and, like, optimize every single one of those decisions, it's a lot of work and it's exhausting. From my vantage point, you're a yuppie. So I don't really feel like that I fit that stereotype, but my view of a yuppie might be different from your view of a yuppie. Because my view of a yuppie is a rich, up-class, maybe city dweller that they've made a ton of money. They make a lot of money from the professional side, and they stay single forever. Like so when I think about the overall aesthetic of the yuppie, right? First of all, they're probably a dink. They're probably double income, no kids, right? They probably shop at Whole Foods, right? That's the biggest one that comes to my mind, is they probably shop at Whole Foods. Or if you're in Utah, it's Harmon's. Like, No. If it's in Utah, it's Whole Foods too. 6-figure work from home wife, kids. I'd wager cookie cutter neighborhood with. Yeah, I think that your view of a yuppie is different from my view of a yuppie. What you're calling a yuppie is like upper middle class family. Yes, I'm definitely fit into the upper middle class family. 6-figure work from home job with wife and kids in a cookie cutter neighborhood with narrow lot lines. Yes. Actually the lot lines in my neighborhood aren't that bad. Because my neighborhood is more of a neighborhood that's been gentrified, is what I would call it. Like, not even gentrified, but like it's been around for a long time. Like, some of the houses are really old, and people are buying lots, tearing down the old houses and building new houses on top of it. But because it's always been a pretty nice, rich area. So you can touch both your neighbor's houses and yours at the same time now. No. But so, and some of the lots, there are actually some lots around here in this neighborhood that, well, like my neighbors, the people that live next door to me, they had a big lot, and they sold their lot, and they built, how many houses did they build? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think that they built 9 houses on it. Now I'm pull up the map and count them. Oh, why am I having a hard time seeing where I am? There we go. There we go. Okay, so it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 houses. Oh, I am missing some. Sorry. Ooh, 14K. What? Wait, am I missing something else? Is there a auction? Oh, there is. Oh. You see what I did there, right? So I said, wow, that's a really big iceberg and everything. And when I'm seeing big icebergs like that, my immediate thought is auction. There is a 5-year auction today. And Bank of Canada rate decision. I don't think I see myself doing anything until after the PMIs, though, right? And it could be front-running PMIs. Yeah, my idea of a yuppie is really different from yours, Susie.
Block cell.
But I'm thinking I should be the country club type. So for that, I really don't care to play golf. That's the problem. That's the thing that's holding me back from doing it, is I don't really care to play golf. Maybe less so if you were like a drywall contractor or something. Well, one could say like young upcoming professional in that like they have a professional job at a large corporation, sort of a thing, right? Then I would kind of fit in that. But I didn't find like to me a yuppie is a liberal that shops at Whole Foods and you know is probably playing pickleball now. It's probably like way overly into pickleball. They always have Star Wars proclivities. Okay. To me, Star Wars proclivity means you're autistic. That do I have to go on to put the autism back in Star Wars rant again? You want to know why Star Wars is doing so? It's not just the whole diversity, inclusion, yada yada nonsense and the terrible writing and everything. It's because Star Wars is autistic, and you're taking art people and you're taking the people that took theater in high school and trying to write something that is for autistic people that took science, that are obsessive about science and planets. And if you were my neighbor, you'd have the Disney annual pass sticker on your minivan. Would I? I don't think I would. Right now, okay, if I lived in Florida, I bet you that it would be like, yeah, there was a time when we went to Disneyland like every day during the summer, but now I hate them and we don't go. So I wouldn't have a sticker now. And where would you shop? Where would a yuppie shop? I want to say Express, except for that I kind of feel like that Express was a little bit too lowbrow for that crap. Maybe like Banana Republic. No, not Banana Republic. Banana Republic is too safari-ish. What would be better? I don't know. But plus, didn't Express go out of business? So I don't know if there's a really good store for them anymore. Publix, Whole Foods. Yeah, they totally shop at Whole Foods. Whereas I'm saying like the aesthetic that I think I should be going for is like Polo Ralph Lauren, right? Okay, focus. 15 seconds. They are polling for it. Okay, so the Canadians did a cut. Okay, PMI flash, 56.4 versus expected 54.9. Manufacturing flash, 49.5 versus 51.6. So that's a big miss. Composite overall higher than expected though, 55.0 versus 54.2. So that's hard for me to sort out. I feel that the manufacturing being so low is a little bit of a surprise, but I don't know if the manufacturing is the one that's like really, I mean, that's kind of been low for a while anyways, so I don't know if that one matters as much. Looks like the treasuries did trade down considerably after that though. Okay, well, let's, I guess I don't have a trade. Let's just kind of see what this does now from here. We do have new home sales at the top of the hour, too. I guess I feel that, like, what you're talking about, Uzi, is really more like a class, right? to me, there's working class, there's middle class, there's upper middle class, and then there is there is rich and ultra rich. Okay. And I think that what you're saying is that yuppies are upper middle class. And that's just not the way that I've looked at it. Like, to me, yuppies are a subcategory within the upper middle class that tends to have certain proclivities, such as like having more let's call it what they would call a more sophisticated palate, but like basically they're more picky about the food that they eat, and they tend like a big thing to me is yuppies are like double income, no kids, shops at Whole Foods, tends to be very liberal. Yep, they believe in organic and cage-free at the supermarkets. Yeah. Yep, totally. And then yeah, like they're double income, no kids, and they live in a townhouse. Right, which is like you own the house. It's maybe shares a wall with the house next to you. But you don't have to take care of the yard. Right? That is getting increasingly popular in developments here. Well, when I in my first marriage, we had a townhouse. Actually, I wouldn't even call it. It wasn't. It was more of like an apartment, but no, it was a townhouse. It was a townhouse. It shared a wall with the people next to us, right? We were on the band. I digress. It was the big draw was you didn't have to take care of the yard, right? But my wife, she absolutely loves the yard. She is, if she didn't have to take care of the kids all the time, I think that she would probably spend 50% of her time outside, tending to flowers. Is that a yuppie thing? Gardening is a hobby? So she insisted that we had to have a relatively large yard. Are you growing your own food? We do have vegetables, but not a lot. I tell you what, though, last year we had tomatoes, and she canned all the tomatoes and turned it into marinara sauce. And the marinara sauce that she made is way better. It has way more flavor to it than like the stuff that you buy at the
Block
store.
Cell.
Growing your own food isn't yuppie because it implies you like to sweat and build things. Well, and yeah, that's I think one of the biggest things that has worked in our relationship is that we were both, okay, we're willing to put in extra time and labor to get ahead, even when it's probably not worth it. Like, we started out living at her house. Like, I had a townhouse and she had a house. And I sold my townhouse and we lived at her house for a while. It didn't have an AC. It had a swamp cooler. It had a garage, but like the garage didn't open up into the house, so you still had to go in through the front door, which was super, super annoying. And we refinished the house. She had completely gutted and redone the kitchen, and then together we did 2 bathrooms in the basement. We built that all, and it was crazy because she made like 100,000 or more profit off of that house, and that was after giving a huge portion of it to her ex-husband. So yeah, could we have paid somebody else to do it and had done it faster and, like, you know, used our time on something else and made more? Maybe, but that was the way that we go, is we're going to do those things ourselves, and we have. All of the landscape we basically did ourselves. We tried to pay somebody to do it, and they didn't do it. So we ended up doing it all ourselves. Our garden is all food producing. Yeah, I mean, we do have food. It's just like, it's super small, right? So it's not like we're anywhere near this, like, I'm trying to live as much as I can off of growing my own food sort of a thing. It's kind of more like, I think that fresh produce is better, tastes better. So here's a couple of little things that we can grow that are nice to have every once in a while. I don't know. A flower garden, though, I wouldn't classify as yuppie either. Again, outside, get a little dirty sweat planters. Yeah, dude, I've spent way too much money on flowers. Luckily, this year I haven't had to do a whole lot of that. So, but in the past, I've spent way too much on flowers. Thousands of dollars on flowers. Well, now that we're back towards the bottom end of this range at 30, I'm really not sure what to think of this thing. I wonder if all of that movement really was just about the Canadian, like, hedging for the Canadian thing, which is why they were buying the treasuries up ahead of it, and then it's like buy the rumor, sell the news sort of a thing. They don't need the hedge anymore. Bank of Canada did what we thought. I don't know. I've got rows of metal planters that cost $100 each. What, the metal planter itself? She's got, like, what are, there's so many different. I can't even remember the name of all of the different flowers that she's got. It's kind of a smart guy. Like, I think that she was kind of like, I like this flower, and she bought them. Now she's starting to get into the, like, okay, what varieties and how do you arrange it all to look best and everything, like, getting a little more professional with it. Man, okay, so they just fell another 2-3 ticks there. Wow. Garden needs to be raised because the dogs. Yeah. Yeah, the garden stuff is in planters, but it's they're planters made out of redwood. I guess really at the end of the day, what I really am is a computer geek. The sorts of things that I tend to be interested in are all classic computer geek things. It's just that I'm, like, kind of looking at that and I'm like, it doesn't actually serve me that well. You know? Like, if I was streaming video games, then that would be a different thing. But with what we're doing, probably what serves me best is Polo Ralph Lauren. That's the real point. That's the real point. Yeah, let's bring up the cost basis because we are just coming back to it. So the seller cost basis is at 28, which is kind of interesting. This right here, that was definitely a large meta order of some sort. I don't know what was going on there, but it's probably why they were able to push through that so easily. Don't want to piss tomatoes. I think I have a theory that my body does not like tomatoes. Like, whenever I have lasagna or something like that, I will have gut issues. 28 is the initial balance low as well. Yeah. Do you think that, I mean, I guess what, I think you're kind of sensing the same thing, that a breach of 28 could bring in a bit more volume. But I don't know. The 5 and the 10 look a little bit mixed. The 30 has already sold a lot, so man, has the 30 really sold a lot. And I do think that some of it probably is still a spread, right? Like if it's a steepener, you're going to buy the 5 and sell the 30. When we were on the up move, the 5 was definitely the driver, and now on this down move, the 30 is definitely the driver. And maybe this 30 going a little bit faster than before because of the news, them deciding that it is actually hawkish. Which I don't know. Services, PMI flash, 56 versus an expected 59 spot 4. Yeah, maybe that is slightly hawkish. And if we discount the manufacturing one being a contraction by saying, well, but manufacturing has been kind of struggling for a long time anyways, that one doesn't matter as much, then maybe that was overall a sell. But then there was some spread meta order too, and so that was just kind of like more fuel of the fire. I think that we should expect to see decent liquidity at 28. Like, I think it's going to take a few thousand contracts to breach 28, and then we'll see what happens. But we're going to have home sales. I think that the home sales is a relatively important number here as well. It doesn't look like they're pulling for it, but I think that it's still important for the treasuries. So So while I'm thinking about it, here's the other thing. We were talking about like the neighborhood and like, are you a yuppie or not? It seems to me that the most popular clothing store in my neighborhood is Old Navy. So I never go to Old Navy. I went there once and I felt like that the shirt that I got there didn't last very long. So like, I don't. That's the thing that I hate, is like, I want buy something, I want it to last forever. Okay. So there is some movement and liquidity being a little bit odd because of the new home sales. 0.617 million versus 0.64 expected. So lower than expected. Month-over-month change of negative 0.6. It's not huge, but I think it's still significant. It does look like it's pushing us back up towards the open. So all of these moves are moves that I'm like really not sure I could have anticipated. And Japanese yen just seems to be following the treasury at the moment. I am seeing something in Bitcoin maybe possibly happening. It's kind of like spiked up and is turning down. The S&P 500 is definitely on the downside, though. Actually, are we breaching significant levels in ES now? Let's come back to a chart of that. I gotta zoom out a little bit. Okay. So we did breach a previous low. We are coming into an area of support. An area of support that the S&P 500 would really have to sell off quickly in order to bust those down at the bottom. So it's probably likely that we settle somewhere in here around 55.20. So I'm kind of looking for something that's like, you know, one thing leads to another, and then that brings in more volume, but I'm not seeing that at the moment. think that we're kind of seeing like there are some moves being placed because there is relatively significant, at least relative to the rest of the week, relatively significant economic news and everything. But like now that that news is over, I'm not really seeing something that makes me confident that we'll continue to see strong flows. That we're probably going to settle somewhere in here and then chill out. But we'll see. Maybe there is a large meta order still to be executed. Anyways, another funny thing is that like so like I think that Yuppie serves me best, or not Yuppie, Polo would serve me best, right? But the stuff that I keep looking at is like military, which I don't ever see myself joining the military. No, but like the clothes and things that I'm like attracted to and want to buy seem to all be military. I got some sunglasses that are from a manufacturer that specializes in selling sunglasses to military personnel. Workout. What's it called? 10,000 is the name of that brand for like my workout shorts and stuff. Get yourself some jungle boots. Oh yeah. You know what? So like I always used to laugh at people that had a lot of shoes. Like for women, it's like, why do you have so many different shoes? Well, okay, girls, there's all sorts of different. Yeah, you know, it's part of your outfit. Okay, whatever. They like shoes. But like a guy, if you have like more than 2 pairs of shoes, what is with you? What are you doing? There's something wrong with you, right? But I'm kind of getting to this point where it's like, you know, I think I need some new shoes. And I keep going like, oh, well, it would be nice to have a shoe for this and a shoe for this and a shoe for this, right? Like a casual knit sneaker for everyday wear, but then I have to have like a pair of waterproof work boots sort of thing for when it rains or if I'm working in the mud. And then I think I want another pair that are not waterproof for when it's hot, but that I'm like working in the garage and standing on the concrete for long periods of time. And then I think I need another pair that are warm for shoveling the snow out. So now I've just talked myself into I need 3 pairs of boots. But I don't think I actually need 3 pairs of boots, do I? Maybe just 2. I think I will end up getting 2. I think I'll buy 1 pair of shoes for woodworking and a pair of like waterproof hiking shoes. Block buy at 11,005. Hanker boots? See, we you know, I had started this conversation too late in this session last time, but like, I tell you what, man, the world of working boots is interesting, man. There's lots of different brands. They get pretty expensive, relatively speaking, for a boot. I was looking, I don't know why, but the one that was the most attractive to me in my looking was Keen, was the brand that I was looking at. But I think that was mostly because Keen seemed to have the best, did the best at explaining what customer each particular boot was going after and what the difference between them are. Because other brands I don't really feel like did a good job at that. The way this is moving really feels like that people are getting jostled out of positions. I'm really a little bit shocked that we're all the way back up here. I'm still seeing the spread too. Like on this move up, spread steepened out again, bigly. Well, that big kind of jump, like big orders that came out there and everything, that's a sort of a thing that makes me want to pause, right? Because that could cause it to reverse or cause it to get stuck there. And then if it does get stuck, that may just be the end of it. I think that scenario is still possible. I need to hear you want to look at workwear. This is what I do instead of trading. It's summer, okay? It's summer. Probably should pull up those back tests. Did I show you the back test, man? Oh my gosh. We'll pull that up real quick. I want to do it like talk about it during the Ninja Trader live stream. So yeah, this back test goes all the way back to 2019, and the news bit is only back to 2022. So you know what? Let me actually do it 2 times. Yeah, and this one, be like this, but change the time to only be to 2022. There we go. So you can see here's the difference with this is normal, right? I changed things so like it can hold through news and it can enter during news, right? So this would be normal, and this one is with those filters on it now. A decent amount more, like 10% more almost, and much higher probability. Like this one is 39% win rate. This one is 43% win rate. But then when you look at the 5-year one, and of course, I only go back, the news bit only goes back to 2022. So it would probably be even better if I found a data source that gives me the news back to 2019. But I got a Sharp ratio of 0.54, which is pretty darned good. I would kind of like to see that. Well, you know, the other thing is that I have like a 1.6 you know, average winner to average loser. So to be getting about 40, well, I was going to say 45, but it's 43% with that risk reward ratio is actually really great, right? And the strategy itself is not that complicated. I got all of that. I cleaned all of that up. Oh, where did I put it? Yeah, right here, 4-year trend. Yeah. So now, all I have to do, first of all, do the checks to make sure you have enough bars. And then you just say, if I can trade, and then your entry criteria. And the entry criteria is just 3 lines there. Our Fourier analysis series is crossing above the threshold, which is 3 in our case. And the trend is up on a simple moving average. And the R squared is below a certain threshold. And that's it. And the threshold is 0.9, so it's like, you know, there's not super strong trend. That's it. That's it. Really simple. Pretty good results. I think that is still for like intraday strategy the best they've had. Now I haven't, should run that live, make sure that all the entries and stuff are that the back test is accurate. There's some problems this indicator. I didn't write this indicator. Fourier series analysis. It's got like a bunch of series, so that's kind of a problem for the back testing part. But all of these values that it's setting into are zero, so it doesn't look like it's doing any kind of like bar, like repainting or anything like that. What's going on with the spoos? I don't know. Well, I think that more generally, I have been anticipating that the S&P 500 declines from here. Like, we're in a little bit of a soft spot, and like some of the flow gurus have been pointing out that there's a real possibility for us to decline from here. There, I think that's everything that I need. Open for that. So make sure that's open now. I guess another thing is that there was a bunch of earnings and so forth yesterday. Remember that, well, let's look at it from this way. Let's look at it on TradingView just to kind of confirm. So that you know that's not just me. CrowdStrike is it's within yesterday's range so far. Okay, so you see this gap right here. So like during the one little bit in which the futures are closed, there was like some earnings releases and so forth, and the S&P 500 gapped down. So the selling may just be a continuation of that. Let's see. If I come over to Zero Hedge, do they have any new stories? Secret Service tells Trump to stop having outdoor rallies. Maybe you could just do your jobs. Okay. One of the top stories is Kamala Harris had a 92% staff turnover during her first 3 years. Well, that's true, but like I thought everybody knew that. That's like not a news story that you pin. Oh, whatever, I'll read it later. A new home sales unexpectedly tumbled in June as home buyer confidence crashes to record low. U.S. services soar, manufacturing slumps in preliminary July PMIs. Netanyahu faces a day of rage pro-Palestinian protest in Washington, D.C. as many willing to get arrested this time. Oh, wait, hold on. Deutsche Bank plunges after jump in commercial real estate loss reserves and shelves plans for buybacks. So, hold on. Going long Costco? I wish I was long Costco. I mean, that's something I should have bought during the pandemic. So I'm thinking the KRE, right? The regional banking ETF. What are they doing? Okay, they don't seem to be as falling as hard as the S&P 500 is. So is it just a rotation thing again? Let's come over to Koifin and look at our watch list. What's kind of like the big movers up or down today? Magnificent 7. Nvidia down 3%. Facebook down 3%. Google down 3%. Tesla down 11%. Oof. Okay. That's where that's coming from. Oof. They're gonna give all that up, aren't they? NYCB, sure. New York Community Bank Corp. Yeah, see, it's not too bad. I mean, it's down like everything, but it's not too bad. Zions. I mean, it's down, but not like hugely. So Deutsche Bank itself, though. I can't believe I know the ticker symbol for that. How do I know these things? Okay. Anyways. Oh, man, that's ugly. That's ugly. Okay. So Deutsche Bank is getting hammered. Maybe some of its peers are following, but but not really. I'm not really seeing like that sector down overly compared to the S&P 500. But what I do see very much down is Tesla. And let's look at the NVIDIA one. NVIDIA is kind of like at support. So I think that it is mostly like, oh, you know what? I think it was also Netflix yesterday, wasn't it? Maybe not. Netflix is actually on the up. So, go figure. But Tesla seems to be the one killing them. So, that may be probably the largest factor in the equities right now. Let's go just down through here, keep going and see if there's anything else interesting. Wow, New Scale is down 7.3%. That's SMR, I guess. That's kind of an ouchies. Where was it? Right here, I want one day. Oh, wow. They actually... So I think it was around here when I was looking at New Scale and I was kind of like, oh, we kind of missed the jump. But it looks like it continued through. But now it is giving it up. And you're getting some, like, it's hitting at some spots that I'd be a little nervous trading it. Cheesecake Factory is down 3%. Supermicro down 4%. Let's see here. So there is some rotation because the NASDAQ is down 2%, but the Russell 2000 is only down 0.75. How come I have... I guess you only get the Russell 2000. Okay, whatever. But like defensive stocks aren't really doing well today either, so it's like it really looks like it's really just Tesla. By the way, coming back over here. Well, I wouldn't say that we could. So when we came up here, remember there was this big trade around here, and I was kind of like, that's a little bit. You gotta be careful with those. Well, it did start to form that around here, but there's still quite a bit of volatility around it. So it looks like they are possibly building a hole. You can kind of see it on the volume profile too. I would anticipate that by the end of the session that you get something like this, right? But there's still some volatility in it. Doesn't look like it's enough to really create a strong trend, so we might be able to start playing the ranges of this. Especially we're not expecting any other large flows today. Well, except for that we do have a 5-year auction. That's something that will cause problems with that, and is likely to be a buy also, by the way. I mean, they've been doing well, and I'd expect that this 5-year auction continue to be pretty good. You never know. So they might get back up there. Just I don't know if they can do it during the next 40 minutes. Okay, so now we can go and we can look at boots and other workwear. There you go. Where was it? No, Vista Energy. There you go. And then what was the other one? What was the other place that I look at? True Work. True Work. Yes, that's right. Performance work clothes. And you like these. True Pros know long sleeve sun protection keeps you cool with UPF 50 plus coverage and 4x moisture wicking. Yes, please. Yes, please. Well, it's just a long sleeved t-shirt. What is it made out of? Oh, here we are. Fabric and care. Ah. 100% polyester full dole interlocking knit wicking. See, this is what I like to see when I'm on like looking at clothes. Okay, so it's polyester. I don't necessarily like polyester, but they give me all the information about the fabric. It's like, how is my fabric different from other people's fabric? I like it. I want to get the work pant because like I'll get like regular pants and I'll get like stains on them and everything. I just need something like these. Or the cloud pant. Cloud pants. Hot weather work pants for low impact jobs with adjustable waist and wicking tech. Thank you. Protects with UPF 30. And it has a pencil holder, guys. That's what I need. That's what I need in pants, is a pencil holder. I'm not trying to joke at all, actually, here. Actually, I constantly find myself misplacing the pencil when I'm doing woodwork. And then over here in boot, this is the boot I was looking at. It has a carbon fiber toe with game-changing cushioning and a breathable upper. See, that's what I want. It explains to me what the shoe does. Why does it exist? And all of the different features. And I go to other places and it's like, okay, what is this shoe actually about? Like, who are we talking to? You guys mentioned Red Wings, right? I kind of hear that Red Wing is overhyped. But okay, so like I think Apex is the equivalent shoe that I want, but like what is it actually? Okay. Medium duty. Recycled plant-based materials, I don't care. Okay, oiled and waterproof nubuck leather upper. Aluminum safety toe. Okay, but is it gonna keep me cool? And am I gonna be able to stand on it for long periods of time? Doesn't really tell me that. What do I find? I go back to work, boots. And then what? Safety toe. Steel toe, aluminum, or a non-metallic toe, maybe. Well, I don't want one that's waterproof. Slip resistant, maybe. That's an interesting looking shoe. Also, I want it to be black. Preferably black. Because, I don't know. It looks cool, I guess. No, I don't know if I'm really finding... You know, what am I paying for? This one. Oh, where did it go? This has game-changing cushioning. You have game-changing cushioning? Maybe they do, but I don't think it's being highlighted properly. You know, this is like I find about brands is so weird, frustrating. Well, the volume in the 10-year in particular seems to have really subsided, but they're still kind of reaching there, so they might be trying to make something happen still. Well, I think we should come over here now and read some of these stories. Let's read the Deutsche Bank one first because I don't know a whole lot about that. After a seemingly endless streak of stronger than expected earnings reports, this morning Deutsche Bank posted its first quarterly loss in 4 years, as revenue from fixed income and currencies fell about 3%, trailing the average 5% gain on Wall Street, even as investment bank income rose about 10%. Also, the bank's decision to put aside a bigger loss revenue for souring loans to companies in the commercial real estate sector did not help and cast a shadow over an otherwise solid quarter for several of Europe's largest lenders. Deutsche Bank quarterly losses, 143 million euro shortfall in profit attributable to shareholders, was the first since the second quarter of 2020, when it began to emerge from the restructuring kicked off by sowing in the previous year. Last quarter figure included a 1.3 billion litigation provision tied to its Postbank retail unit. More importantly, as a result of the earnings fiasco, Germany's largest bank also shelved plans for a second buyback this year, as previously disclosed litigation charge pushed it to the first quarterly loss since 2020. The shares plunged as much as 8.5% on Wednesday, the steepest drop in almost 3 months, as the market realized it will no longer be front-running stock buying by the bank itself. They since recovered some losses and were down 5.6% at the last check. The worst performer among the large European lenders, BNP and UniCredit, declined as well, with only Santander posting gains. Okay. Hold on, I'm going to check something. Are technicals effective on Ethereum Ether futures? I've never traded them before. So I would say more broadly that technicals are not very effective on intraday timeframes and can be effective to some degree on daily timeframes. I find that Bitcoin has a lot of technical traders. They have a lot of technical traders. But that doesn't necessarily help you. So you will see it. It definitely will like go to certain levels and do things like that. But I'm not very confident that those would actually help you in the long run. You know, if I'm gonna trade Ethereum, I want to be buy and hold. I kind of feel like that you need to have already been in Ethereum, right? Because it's going up because of the ETFs and stuff. But from a day trading perspective, like the problem is it can move so quickly on you that the risk is just too high for a retail trader to make that work. Then make that one really work very well. You get a lot of people that are telling you to do it when the market is good, but those people eventually die. This is like I was watching a clip from the Biggest Short or whatever the name of the movie is, right? And there's this part in the movie where they say, here's your opportunity to meet the guy on the other side of the trade, the money manager on the other side of the trade. And the money manager kept saying things like, well, how about this? I'll tell you how much I'm worth and how much you're worth. Because what that money manager was really saying was, well, you say that this is bad and this is so awful and everything, but I've made money from it. And the market seems to value what I'm doing really, really well. But the problem is that it was a fat tail. There was a fat tail to what this guy was doing that he was ignoring. It works out most of the time, but then the one time that it doesn't work, it completely blows up and you lose everything, right? And the Steve Carell's character, you know, was so disgusted that he left the meeting. It's kind of like that. That's like what day trading for cryptocurrency is. It's like when it's going up, you're gonna do really, really well, but then when that ends, you just get obliterated. Okay. U.S. services soared, manufacturing slumps, and preliminary July PMIs. The Euro area composite flash PMI declined by 0.9% to 50.1, notably below consensus. The deceleration in the composite index was broad-based across sectors, with the manufacturing output index falling to 45.3 and the services index declining to 51.9. Across countries, the decline in the area-wide index was driven by Germany and the periphery. However, amid plummeting hard data signals over the last 2 months, S&P Global's soft surveys have soared in the U.S., even as European PMI slipped lower, but were expected to dip a little in the flash July print, but the picture, as always, was mixed, with manufacturing tumbling to 49.5 from a previous 51.6, while services accelerated further to 56 from the previous 55.3. That dragged the composite US PMI up to 55, a 27-month figure high, even as Europe hits 4-month lows. Commenting on the data, Chris Williamson, chief business economist at S&P Global Market Intelligence, said the flash PMI data signal a Goldilocks scenario at the start of the third quarter, with the economy growing at a robust pace while inflation moderates. Output across manufacturing and services is expanding at the strongest rate for over 2 years in July, the survey data indicative of GDP rising at an annualized rate of 2.5% after a 2% gain was signaled for the second quarter. However, Williamson warns that the good news is qualified, however, with both the growth and inflation pictures containing some worrying elements to monitor in the coming months. From the output perspective, growth has become worryingly skewed, with manufacturing slipping back into contraction as the service sector gains further strength. Some of the production decline was linked to staff shortages, so it could prove temporary, something which is supported by the sector reporting improved confidence about future growth prospects. However, both manufacturers and service providers are reporting heightened uncertainty around the election, which is dampening investment and hiring. In terms of inflation, the July survey saw input costs rise at an increased rate linked to rising raw material, shipping, and labor costs. These higher costs could feed through to a higher selling prices if sustained or cause a squeeze on margins. So not exactly rate-cutting bad news for the Doves. And hence perhaps why we declined the treasuries afterwards. U.S. new home sales unexpectedly tumbled in June as homebuyer confidence crashes to a record low. After a disappointing dump in existing home sales in June, new home sales just confirmed a slowdown, dropping 0.6 month-over-month, notably before the 3.4% month-over-month expected. Also saw a major downward revision in May from a negative 11.3 month-over-month to negative 14.9 month-over-month. That leaves new home sales down 7.4% month-over or year-over-year. That shift dragged the new home sales SAAR down to 617,000, basically unchanged since 2016. While the median new home price rose in June, it remains below the median existing home price. It appears the home builder subsidy is a fad. The home builder subsidy fad is wearing off as mortgage rates show no sign of easing significantly. Of course, none of this should be a surprise as homebuyer confidence has collapsed to an all-time record low. Will cutting rates help? I would think so. I would hope so. If it doesn't, then we got some problems, don't we? Okay, you want to hear about Kamala Harris? Under Kamala Harris, the office of vice president has been called a revolving door, a staff exodus of key aides heading for the exits. That's not hyperbole from the national media. Our auditors at Open the Books quantified an extraordinarily high 91.5% staff turnover rate. We use the U.S. Senate disclosures to conduct our investigation, and those databases can be downloaded below. Elected in November 2020, Harris took the oath of office in 2021. As of March 31st, 2024, only 4 of the initial 47 staffers from the first year are still employed consistently and without interruption. Furthermore, the turnover chaos isn't getting better. In the trailing 12-month period, 24 staffers left. That's almost half of the employees. Eee. The top-to-bottom dysfunction that The Atlantic referenced in October 2023 is shown in the report payrolls that we captured. In her first year and a half as vice president, Harris saw the departure of her chief of staff, communications director, domestic policy advisor, national security advisor, and other aides. It's only that was all who left. If only that was all who left. The semi-annual report of the Secretary of the Senate, among other things, lists the names, titles, and salaries of the staff. In the most recent publishing, only 4 staff of the original 47. I already told us that. Kamala Harris, Office of the Vice President, is committed to the opacity of its payrolls and all of their other office information. Oh, they're saying that they filed Freedom of Information reports and they didn't get... Since 2021, only 127 of Biden's initial 560 White House employees remain. For context, Donald Trump's payroll turnover from his first year until his 4th year was 72%. Okay. So it's Biden is not as high as Trump. But Kamala is even higher than Trump's. Eek. But Biden's high turnover isn't the only staffing failure that should give taxpayers pause. He has the largest White House headcount since the Richard Nixon administration, who was the first president to exceed 500 staffers. Now Biden employs 565 staffers, costing taxpayers $61 million. I can't imagine having 500 people working for me just to be president. That's like a little bit like, But I don't know anything about being president, so that just seems like a lot, doesn't it? Simone Sanders, Harris's chief spokesperson and senior advisor in early December 2021, was quoted in the Washington Post responding to critics of staff departures, saying, "We are not making rainbows and bunnies all day. What I hear is that people have hard jobs, and I'm like, welcome to the club." She left later that year. Meanwhile, a critic says working for Harris is a nightmare, not just because she rides her staff hard, but also because she does so without the competence, decisiveness, and effectiveness that inspires people in politics to suffer under demanding bosses. Dan McLaughlin wrote in January 2022 National Review article titled, "People really, really do not want to work for Kamala Harris." Let's see here. D says, "I've been watching some videos of her. She speaks with a superiority complex in my..." Yeah, she does. She does. She speaks like that she's so smart and that everybody that's listening to her is a kindergartner. And that's one of the things that is so grating about her. And then on top of that, every policy that she proposes is super far left, and she proposes implementing it through any means and use of coercion necessary. So for instance, during the debates, in the 2020 debates, Joe Biden said, well, you know, there's limits to what we can do with gun control. I don't think that the president can just come in and say, like, handguns or, you know, something that's like a weapon that is very commonly used is just all of a sudden banned. And Kamala Harris is like, why not? We should just try anyways. Right? That's Kamala Harris. I watched her talking to the swim team or athletes, and when you slow it down, it's as if she was the queen. She is the queen, and we are her peasants. Well, I'm interested to see what polling looks like a month from now. I've seen some polls, but I don't know if those would necessarily be super useful. One of the things is that I keep seeing like, oh, Harris is actually ahead, but that's a national poll. But national polls at this point in the race aren't really very helpful. And I really think that we're having such a strong far left progressive as the nominee is really going to hurt them is in swing state polling. Like, shall we game some things out? Shall we? Yes, let's come over here to, what is it? 270 to win, I think is the name of the... Yeah, here we go. Okay, so with Kamala Harris... Okay, first of all, Texas is going to go red. Iowa is going to go red. Ohio is going to go red. Okay. So I don't think Kamala Harris can win Pennsylvania. So I'm going to put that as leans. Let's just do it slightly red like that. Okay, leans Republican. Okay. I also don't think she can win Nevada now at this point. So like right there, Donald Trump wins. Arizona, so these two, let's make them a little bit more red. Arizona, that one's probably a harder poll, but I actually think that he could get Trump could get Arizona and Georgia and North Carolina. So like there you have like very clearly he wins there, right? Now these ones like, and that's where like, you know, Wisconsin and Michigan, Trump could lose both of those, still be fine, right? Okay, so let's reset the map. I just don't know why the USA has these two types of candidates. Well, that might just be media presentation. So if Kamala Harris gets Pennsylvania, okay, she gets Pennsylvania, and let's give her Wisconsin and Michigan. Go on, blue. There we go. Okay, so now it's even. She only has to pick up one of those, like the seat in Maine. Then she wins. Right. So, yeah. Pennsylvania's pretty important. Like, I don't see how Kamala wins without Pennsylvania. Yeah, Pennsylvania and Nevada would do it for Trump. And like, again, fracking in particular is a super toxic position to take in Pennsylvania. Be interesting to see. I'm sure that in the next week that the media will ask her, what's your opinion on fracking? And she'll try and, avoid answering the question probably. If she's smart, she'll avoid answering the question. Because if she says what she really thinks and what she said in the past, that fracking should be banned everywhere, then she's finished. But like, when you just look at it, like the lay of it and everything, like it was going to be a really close election anyways. And Trump had a huge advantage. Okay, Harris kind of takes things back to before the debate, which is still an advantage for Trump. And I would argue that, like, Joe Biden in good health is infinitely better of a candidate than Kamala Harris. Just like from a candidate perspective. Actually, another way to think about Kamala Harris is like, vice president does have some impact on the administration, right? One of the things that we've seen is that Joe Biden has done a number of executive orders, like in particular, the student debt forgiveness thing, right? He did student debt forgiveness. Supreme Court struck it down. So then he tried through a different way, and it looks like the courts are going to strike that one down too. And then there's probably 3 or 4 other ways that they're going to try and do it, right? Well, we did get a little bit of insight into what was going on in the administration with this. And what we know is that Kamala Harris was pushing to do student debt forgiveness from the very, very beginning. Right? So that's like the difference. This is like Joe Biden on steroids, really. I have a really hard time seeing Democrats win with her as their candidate. Let's see. The propaganda is going super hard, and I think it probably will affect people. Hard to say, but well, what do you know? The treasuries have really calmed down now. Tesla is doo-doo part 2 on r/Wall Street Bets. My last post, I dookied all over Tesla based on the tingle in my ball sack. Now numbers, Tesla profit fell 45% year over year. What? Is that for real? I did not know. That's bad, but it would be worse if Tesla hadn't sold triple the regulatory credits compared to quarter 2 2023. And double that from quarter 1 2024. And in quarter 2 2024, 680 million credits were sold, compared to 282 last year. 442 million sold in quarter 1 2024. Tesla earns regulatory credits from the government for selling EVs. Basically, it's a carbon emissions cap and trade program. Elon living off that government tea. So ask yourself in the coming months, will Tesla sell fewer vehicles, or will the new, cheaper car that will cannibalize the Model 3 come out on time in the first half of 2025 as promised? Closed to $220 puts or strike puts today. Going to buy puts on Tesla. Green days down to 150. 150. Wow. Well, if Tesla continues to do that poorly, that could be bad news for the S&P 500 because they are a pretty major constituent still. So that's interesting. What's the most boring drive between two major American cities? The drive between Denver and Kansas City? Yeah, probably. Thank you. See, Reddit's sick of it. Remember when r/advice animals wasn't r/politics? Petra Farge remembers. I mean, I do, but then I don't because there's always been way too much politics in this thread, in that subreddit rather. So Harris needs all three of Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan to win. Yes. Like, that's the thing is that, like, my understanding is that in Michigan in particular is not a done deal for her. Oh my gosh, we're getting trend coming in here again as soon as I said, like, it's settled. That's so funny. That's so funny. Well, I think that the auction is the next big driver. I don't think that that's what's pushing it right now. And I'm not seeing a change in the spread, but I am seeing a change in the Japanese yen. So, there you go. But it's time for me to get going, guys. I'm not going to take a trade today. I think, well, I don't know. It went back and forth across this so much. I really prefer a day where it's just like trend in one direction all day, right? So, it's okay. But I will see. I'm going to be on the Ninja Trader live stream in about 5 minutes. So head over to Ninja Trader's YouTube channel for that. And in the meantime, stay excellent, team.